Hello boys and girls, it's time for another story. Do you remember our Spot stories? Spot went to school, then Spot was not well, and now we've got that same little naughty dog Spot going on holiday. And this book says Spot goes on holiday. And you can see Spot running along happily with a hat on his head and a rubber ring for swimming and a bucket. So he's going to have a lovely time on his holiday, isn't he? So first thing in the morning, there's a lovely yellow sun up in the sky. Mummy is coming down the stairs with Spot, and she says, Dad and I are taking you to the beach, Spot. And can you see Dad waiting at the door? He's got a bag with a blanket in it for them to sit on and a lovely big beach ball. And Spot is so happy that they're going to go to the seaside, and he says, yippee. So now they've come to the beach and Spot wants to buy something, and the dad is quite happy that Spot should be at the shop wanting to buy things. So Spot is behind all the beach balls and he says, can I have a sailor hat? So we can see all those little white hats, they're called sailor hats. And there is that rubber ring for swimming that has a duck's head on it. It's blue with red spots. And in front of Spot there are 3 buckets for putting sand in. There is a toy sailing boat, and behind the toy sailing boat there's a red spade. There are 4 green fishing nets, and there's a little rake. Do you remember those, were these snakes who were using rakes? Well, here's a little red rake, can you see it? And many other things in that yellow box. Can you also see the sign which says, keep our beach tidy? So when you go to a beach, you have to be very, very careful and not leave your rubbish, because it can harm other people, and any plastic rubbish can harm the sea life. And on the next page we see that Spot has got lots and lots of different things that his dad has bought for him. What has he got? He's got the sailing boat, he's got the green fishing net, he's got the red bucket with a yellow star on it, he's got the rubber ring with the duck's head on it, which is blue and red, and he's got a little spade and a little rake. And Mummy says to Daddy, you really spoil him, Sam. So what's the name of Spot's dad? It's Sam. And in front of Mummy's paw, what can you see? There's a starfish. Can you see the starfish? Then Dad and Spot are playing with a beach ball, and Dad is saying, catch the ball, Spot. And Spot is almost bumping into a great big fat blue hippo. And the big blue hippo, wearing a striped costume, is not at all happy and says, watch it. There's something else that you can see in this picture if you look very carefully. Where's the crab? Can you see a little crab hiding in the picture? I can see it. See if you can. And something else which is on the ground is a lovely shell, and a different shaped shell with it as well. So quite a few shells on the ground under Daddy's feet. Then the dad, Sam, decides to have a nap. So he lies down on the pink blanket and falls asleep. While what is Spot doing? Spot is making sand pies with his bucket. So you put sand in a bucket and then you pat it flat, then you turn the bucket over and it turns into a sand pie. And if you make lots of those, then they turn into sand castles. Have you ever made a sand pie or a sand castle? Can you see the bird that is looking down on Spot? And he's saying, "What are you making, Spot?" And Spot says, "Sand castles." Then Mummy comes along and says, "Where's Dad?" And that seagull, that bird, is still there watching, and Spot has got a naughty smile on his face because here is Dad under all that sand. And Dad says, "Here I am." Then they go out in a rowing boat. What colour is the rowing boat? A red one. And Dad is doing the rowing with his oars, and Spot has got the rubber ring on so that if he falls in the water he will float, and he's wearing his sailor's hat, and he's very happy because he says, "Dad, I've caught a fish." So shall we look and see what he's caught in the water? Oh, he's only caught an old boot. The little fish says, "Almost, but not quite." But then suddenly Spot falls into the water and it's puppy overboard, and Sam, Dad, jumps in the water to save him. But because Spot is wearing his rubber ring, he says, "I'm all right," and he's floating on the water. He's fine, and he seems to be enjoying himself as well. Then they get back onto the beach and they're all wet, so Spot wants to dry himself, and he sees a towel and he pulls at it. But Sam, his dad, says, "Spot, that's not your towel." Whose towel do you think it is? Who is in that little hut? Do you remember that stripy costume? Let's see. There's that angry hippo saying, "Let go!" He doesn't like Spot taking his towel. What has Spot found now? Mummy's wondering what he's doing under that blanket. And what does he find? A new friend. There's a sweet little brown dog with a blue ribbon on his or her head. And Spot is very happy that he's found a new friend to play with. But then it's time to go home. And there's Sam carrying all the things back to, probably to the car. And Mummy has the rubber ring. And she says, "Come on, Spot, you can play with your friend tomorrow." And Spot and the new dog, they say, "Oh, good." And they're very happy that they're going to meet on the beach tomorrow.